I don't think so. I mean, I made that call before ETH had smashed through 4,000, and obviously people saw on chain, and I bought back some of the ETH that I sold. So the chart says it's going higher. So you can't fight the market. Do I
Okay.
think that we could? Should I think we can maybe test 4,000 if there's a very hawkish statement from Powell at the Jack and Hole symposium on Friday? Absolutely.
In this video, Arthur Hayes will talk about crypto, Ethereum, stablecoins, altcoins, and Powell's speech. Let's catch him up to know more.
So when I look at the ETH chart, so Bitcoin 70 odd percent above its previous all-time high. ETH, you could say, is like just struggling to break its previous all-time high. Do you see like a massive catch-up trade? Do you see ETH also doing like a 70% above its previous all-time high and going up to like, I don't know, 5, 6, 7,000 before the end of the cycle?
I think ETH goes 10, 20,000 before the end of the cycle, right? Once it's broken through, then it's a gap of air to the upside, and you have obviously all these digital asset treasury companies who are just raising money, and it's going to be even easier to raise money if the asset they're buying has just broken through its all-time high and it's just ascending upwards. So I think that the sky's the limit, and that really depends on how much capital these companies can raise, how much money they're going to print. I'm not a 4-year cycle guy. As the cycle will last, however long the cycle lasts. I don't think Trump has really. They haven't gotten into their groove of how they're going to print money yet. They're putting in all the pieces. They're teasing different ways in which they can do it. They're telling you, hey, we want to run things hot. Here are different ways where he's throwing things at the wall, seeing what sticks in terms of ways to print money. And I think once we get through this Fed question, who's the head of the Fed? How many governors does Trump have that are loyal to him? Does he fire Powell or for cause or some other people, right? There's different ways and he can get what he wants. I think that gets resolved sometime in the middle of next year. And then we have from middle of 2026 until Trump leaves office for them to go absolutely insane with how much money they're going to print. So again, you should not win an election without printing money. And the Democrats are going to print money. And so he has to print money. If he doesn't hand out the goodies, then all his boys are not getting reelected. Yeah, but my base case is we are going to have a massive bull market in all types of financial assets connected to anything that Trump believes is important between now and when he exits office. Because again, he's got to win an election. He's got to win an election in 2026. The only thing voters care about is their wallet. Am I richer today than I was previously? And if I'm not, if I don't feel like I'm advancing economically, then I'll just choose the other guy. So they chose the other guy, Trump over Biden, and they're going to choose the other guy. Pick your congressperson or senator who's running in 2026, who is the Trump heir in 2028 versus whoever the Democrat is, right? The Democrats are saying we're going to print money, right? Look at Mamdani in New York. You have AOC. They're ready. We're printing money. It's socialism. Come on, let's go. Like, we're giving the goodies. So Republicans, you giving goodies? You're not giving goodies? Okay, I'm staying home. I'm not voting.
You make me want to vote Democrat. Like if they're going to print money, I'm just here for the money person.
Print money at the end of the day. It doesn't matter.
Reading market sentiment no longer begins and ends with a chart. For many crypto traders, the first stop is now a conversation with AI models like ChatGPT and Grok. These tools provide faster context, narrative framing, and sentiment insights before a candlestick or Bollinger Band ever comes into view. Instead of toggling through indicators, traders are typing questions such as, "What's the mood around Ethereum this week?" and receiving clear, digestible analysis that blends community chatter, macro signals, and historical patterns into a cohesive picture. This shift is happening because charts, while essential, can feel overwhelming, especially to those still learning technical analysis. Candlestick wicks, moving averages, and Fibonacci retracements require experience and emotional control to interpret correctly. By contrast, asking ChatGPT to summarize Bitcoin's momentum or Grok to scan social sentiment around Solana delivers instant clarity, packaged in natural language that anyone can understand. Each model has its strengths. ChatGPT excels at breaking down technical indicators, comparing token fundamentals, and even simulating trading scenarios in a structured, big-picture way. Grok, on the other hand, thrives on real-time data from X, capturing meme-driven sentiment shifts and spotting cultural signals that often precede market moves. Together, they give traders both the narrative and the pulse. making decision-making faster and less intimidating. Charts remain vital for tactical execution, but AI is increasingly owning the why behind market moves. Traders who combine conversational AI with chart confirmation gain a sharper edge: speed from sentiment, precision from structure. In a fast-moving market, the smartest chart might just be the one that talks back.
We all hated ETH. Everybody hated ETH. It was like it's a Sol cycle, and it's Solana only, and Solana's the fast monolithic chain. Now it's like ETH only.
Like, you look, let's be honest, they're both going to go up. The question is which one goes up more, right? So, I'm an advisor for UPXI, right? A Solana digital asset company. So do I believe Solana's going to go up? Absolutely, it's going to go up. Do I believe it's going to go up more than ETH? I don't know, probably not. But again, ETH is a bigger asset to move, but there's a lot of money chasing it. So it's going to be an interesting race between Solana and ETH in terms of who moves faster. And again, it doesn't mean that one loses, right? Everyone's going to make money in this sort of situation. So you're paying $2 for $1. Why? Because you believe in the effects of passive indexing and how that works, right? So if I am, I just got off a call with, my advisory call with UPXI, and I'm like, hey guys, like, what do you guys need to do? Well, understand which indices could include your stock, which fund managers have a mandate to buy certain types of stock. Okay, what is the average daily trading volume you need to hit? What is the market cap you need to hit? What exchanges you need to be listed on, right? And so it doesn't matter what the company does. It doesn't matter what the asset is. As long as you meet these criteria, these investors, these fiduciaries, they have to buy your stuff. This is the MicroStrategy trade. This is what Michael Saylor has pioneered. It's in what, S&P 500 or NASDAQ? I don't know.
It's moving into S&P 500. Apparently, in a couple of weeks, it's going to move into S&P 500.
Right. So this is a rebalance trade. And this is something I used to do in TradFi a lot, which is, okay, I know what's going to get included into the index. I know the total amount of capital that must buy this and sell that. Right. And so this is what a retail investor has to understand. Okay, well, I'm looking at UPXI. Okay, well, here's this company. Here's how it's categorized in the TradFi ecosystem. It's a tech company or whatever. Right. Okay. So I know that Vanguard and BlackRock and State Street and these guys have all these funds. And the fund manager can buy a stock or include a stock if it hits these criteria. Do I believe that the management company of UPXI is going to be able to hit those metrics? And if so, then I'm going to pay $2 or $1, because when these flows come, they don't stop. The passive manager does not care what the company does. His screen says buy this stock because it's in the index. Okay, I'm supposed to follow the index and I buy the stock. That's the trade. That's it. It doesn't matter.
Bitcoin faces a pivotal moment as $13.8 billion in options approach expiry on August 29th, putting traders on edge after a steep 9.7% correction. The drop to $112,100 marked a 6-week low and left bullish strategies vulnerable, with only a fraction of call options placed at levels near the current price. By contrast, a significant cluster of puts sits at $112,000, giving bears strong incentive to keep pressure below the critical $114,000 threshold. Open interest in calls still outweighs puts, but many bullish bets were placed far above $120,000, now looking increasingly unrealistic. With Deribit holding an 85% market share, the expiry outcome will largely hinge on where Bitcoin closes in relation to key levels. For bulls to regain momentum, Bitcoin needs to break decisively above $116,000 before the deadline. Yet, broader market conditions add another layer of tension. Concerns over AI sector spending have weighed heavily on tech stocks, dragging down overall risk appetite. Traders are also watching Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell's upcoming remarks, which could shift sentiment if hints of rate cuts emerge. Until then, the balance of power leans towards bears, with the expiry set to determine whether Bitcoin's rally has merely paused or stumbled into deeper correction. If you have been watching so far, thank you so much for watching, and do not forget to subscribe to Bitcoin Zella for daily news all for free. That's all for today's video. Until next time.